And good morning, folks. I am Paul the Ball, and we're here with the morning show right here on the great ZBVI, as well, of course, on Facebook. Good to have you. Special guest with me this morning. They call him Boogie. Well, of course, his real name is Clarence Freeman, and we're going to be talking with Clarence today. So just stick and stay as we do some morning work. And good morning, one and all. Great to have you here. Hoping it's a great, positive, and wonderful morning for you. It is certainly for me and for my guest here this morning. A gentleman which is actually no stranger to you. As soon as you hear the voice, you should know it. This is a gentleman that has called in the radio for years, and I said, listen, we have to get you on this morning. We gotta let people hear your history and a bit about you. Of course, in case you didn't know, this program is all about the positive things of the BVI. There's always so much. It's so easy to talk about the negative, but we want to focus on the positive things in life. And people say, well, Paul the Ball, why don't you talk about this or that? I said, no, we are talking about positive. So, good morning to you, young man.
Good morning to the listening audience. Nice to have you with you this morning, Paul.
And introduce yourselves.
My name is Boogie.
Boogie, of course, he's not going to want to tell you his real name. He's Clarence Freeman. That's his real name, like everyone else. But we'll call him Boogie because I know that's where he's comfortable with. But we have to start this morning with Clarence Freeman, because tell us a bit about your history, where you were born and where you grew up.
Oh, yes, I born in the Rotown area right next to the Electrical building. And I lived there all my life until I come to manhood. Then I take my own manship and went on my own. So I used to be around the yard there, down Main Street, and so forth. And the capital of that was, they used to have two different areas in, you call it down, from down street down and up street. Up street was from by the Shirley's up to Huntamscott area, and down street was from below there, the Shirley, down street. So down street was like where it was a two-way traffic. You had to walk, and traffic used to be flowing. And after that, we started to go down there when we started to grow up as little boys. The whole things of the people that you know, your parents know down there, they couldn't pass them and couldn't say good morning. Because if you didn't say good morning, you will hear the result of that. So when you go in, you have to tell those people good morning, good afternoon. And when they call you to send you anywhere, you couldn't say, I can't go. Because they say, yes, I know your parents, and if you tell them I send you out, there was nothing to be said. That's how it is.
No, Boogie, I know you grew up with your mother. Tell us who your mother was, you say, and what kind of person was she? Tell us a bit about that before you go too far forward.
My mother was there, her name was Freeman, living there in Rotown too. And she worked for the rise up at Patrick's Hall, as we call it. And when she woke up there, she used to go up in the morning time and come down in the evening. So she used to live with my grandfather and grandmother until she get back. So when she get back, I used to have her company. So she went in the later days, she get a job in a place we call St. Croix. And she went over there with her family, and she walked over there until the people sold the property, and she came to St. Thomas, and she get a job there with some people from Paris, who used to distribute the perfumes.
Mm-hmm.
And she was there. So when they go back to Paris to get the stuff to sell, she used to distribute them to the different down in the Main Street and all the customers there.
All right. When we're not picking up your mic, hold a second there. Let's just see if we can get your mic up a little louder. Go ahead.
Yeah, and she came.
Wait, hold, so hold. Okay. Getting a little. This seems to be a slight fault this morning. Sorry, listening audience, on the mic. Go ahead now. Let's try it.
And when she came to St. Thomas now, she worked there until she retired. Then she came back home.
Right. Okay. So tell us about your childhood. What school did you attend in Roton as a child?
Well, my first school that I attended school was the elementary school. That was the one they call the long school,
So the long school. Where was that situated?
just up above the first Elmo Stout High School.
Right. So so you attended long school. All right. Wonderful.
And then from there, after you get more children up there, they sent us down to the St. George's School.
Right.
So we go down there for a while, and when you pass your exam down there to come back up, they bring you back up. When you get up there, you're going from there now, you're heading for fifth standard and sixth and seventh. And from seventh standard, and you pass that, you was going over to high school. And my first class teacher was Miss Altes Catliff,
So Altius Catholic was also your first.
my first school teacher.
Yes. And of course, if you I don't know if you recall when Ray O'Neill was here, Ray actually was also taught by Altius Catholic.
Yes, yes, he was taught by Altes Catliff too. And there was several other teachers that taught us and so forth. I like calling Letson, but she was calling Connor at the time.
Curlin Connor.
Yeah. And there was the next teacher by the name of Ivor Boogie.
Ivor Bruley.
Ivor Boogie, yeah.
Right. Anyone else you recall?
I recall the other lady was, I can't remember her name offhand right now. Yeah, so
Okay, so what would you say were some of the the fun times at school, and what were the not so? What did you enjoy about school, and what did you not enjoy about school?
what I enjoy about school was in the sports area and so forth. We used to play, had many different sports in the school.
What do you recall? Do you remember the sports that were played and when you played the sports at school?
Yeah, I remember that.
Tell us.
Because when we were small growing up, the first time we learned to play going to school was bat and ball. So we used to call it outer man. You have to out the batter that you could get a bat.
Right.
And so along with Brian Penn now, he was there going to school too. And we used to play that so often. And we used to bat with a 2x2 window bar that we used to push the windows out with,
Mm-hmm.
and we could have hit that ball. So we'd come up now to do any other things. We used to play rounders with the girls, but one problem the girls had with the men, when they feed the ball and they had to run from the form plate to first base, they had to throw the ball to hit them, to out them. But the men were so strong, and when they threw the ball to hit them, they used to get hit so hard. Although it was a sponge ball.
So the boys used to throw the ball a little too hard and hit the girls.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they didn't like that. So we matched them now to play girls against girls. So everything went out. Every school had a team that used to play against each other.
Right. When were these games played? Was it played earlier during the school day? Was it played later on in the day of the school day, or what was it? What time of the day do you recall?
Well, they had a game. We had a game period.
You had a game period.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right. And that's vitally important to recall. Do you think that game period that was part of your school curriculum at the time was important?
Yeah, that was really important because that sports there is where softball come out of.
So you feel that softball came out of the game period from school?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That a game used to call rounders.
Rounders. So the rounders game that you played at school during your game period is where you personally feel that rounders, that softball grew from and developed?
Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah.
All right, okay. And were you at school long enough, I mean, from your age group, so that softball actually began being played at the school?
Well, actually, yes.
And what do you recall from that?
I record because when you start to play now, you had a big home plate, first base, second, third, and there was a catcher and the pitcher over there. But they couldn't throw the ball as hard as how they're throwing them now. So we used to go from that. So when the feeders feed the ball now, they have to throw it to first base, and you get there late, you automatically out.
Right. And was that still done during the game period?
Yeah, that was done all through the game period and so forth.
Right. So the game period was a very big part of the school day.
That was a big part of the school.
Oh, now tell us about the academic side. You probably decided you didn't enjoy as much from the sounds of it.
Well, I enjoy my school days,
Good.
and it was very interesting.
Who would you say was your favorite teacher
One of my favorite teacher was the same at this Catholic.
at this Catholic school?
Yeah, because what really happened when I started to go to school, I was 4.5 years old.
4.5 years old.
Yeah, because when bigger kids going to school, I used to cry behind them. So one day, she saw me and she told my grandmother to just get me dressed and send me. So she had a little training chair for children. So she had one there. So when I went there, she take me and put me to sit in that chair. And later on, when she get this class going, she come back to me. And she called me by the desk and I went and stand up by her. What I see her do, she take out a slate and a pencil and she put it in my hand. She hold my hand and she guided to write my name. So when she did that, I practice on to do that all the time. And when they come now, she gave me the slate to take home the afternoon from school and tell me I must practice that. So when I practiced that, she said to me next morning, "Oh, I see you can do what you have to do." Because when I went home, I spent all the time on that slate. That time, the kids of today don't know what you call a slate.
Well, I was just about to say that because Miss P, when she was here the last time, also spoke about the slate. I noticed quite a popular thing. So they seem to have used that slate for a number of years for youngsters to write with.
Yes.
What is your recollection of the slate? What did it look like? How big was it?
It was about
The size of a book, an exercise book?
about the size of an exercise book. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And what did you write on it with?
with a pencil.
With a pencil.
Yeah.
And how did you erase the slate?
You just take your finger with a little water and you rub it out.
Was the slate a black slate?
It was a black slate.
A black slate.
Yeah,
And the pencil was what color?
black.
Pencil was black. But when you wrote on it, the words came out what color?
Came out in a clarish color.
Okay, okay, right. So it's like it was nearly white. So it's like black writing it and came out white.
Yes.
And then when you wiped it, it cleaned it off.
clean it off. Yeah.
Okay. It's like a blackboard with chalk, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same effect.
Yeah.
Right. And that is where you learn to write from.
That's where I learned to write from.
Okay. So so school days, we're talking about you enjoyed game period, you also enjoyed the school work. Started very young, as you said, from 4.5. Then let's take you on to as you began to get into your teenage, when you became a teenager and getting a little bigger now into high school and then out of high school. Take us through there, your progression.
Well, in my progression, when I get back up there to the long school, I used to really go and play the same badminton ball. And time to time come now, when you get a break and you home, you go and you get some sticks and you make some kiliwan to catch mountain dough and catch birds and so forth.
Right. So you break that down for us a bit for the listening audience now. You said you used to catch ground doves,
Mountain dove.
mountain doves.
Yeah.
So tell us how you did that. What was it you said you used?
We use a K1.
A K1. So you got to explain it. You have to understand. You have a generation of people who have no idea what a K1 is, including myself. So educate us.
So because you get 4 pieces of stick to the bottom and some wire. So you take all 4 ends with the end of the wire, and you start building the sticks according to the width of it. Come up and you come up to nothing.
And where do you put it? How do you catch the bird? You put food in there or something?
You have to put food in there. You take a thread and tie from on the 2 back part of it, come to the forefront. You take a fork stick, you raise the K1, and then you have a trap stick that you put in the fork and you bring it onto the thread. So when the bird's going in now and they touch that thread, the K1 will drop.
Oh, and it catches them. It's
Yeah,
well, I don't want it to sound funny, but it's like a rat trap kind of thing.
something like a rat trap. Yeah.
All right. And then you
Yeah.
catch the bird, and then and I presume you eat this bird when you catch it.
Yeah, we used to rear them in, and we used to bake a cage and put them in.
Okay, so when you catch them, they don't die.
They don't die.
Okay, good to know.
All right.
So you could actually catch them and keep them as pets.
Keep them as pet. Yeah.
Right. And did you at any time eat these birds, or were they only pets?
Yeah, we eat them.
So they were pets and they were also food.
Also food. Yeah.
Okay. So take us now on to you as a teenager now, a little older. At what point did you leave school and look out to work, and then tell us what kind of work you did?
Because what happened at the time when I left school at the age of 14. So, because those days you had to come out of school and try to help yourself and the other your siblings and so forth. So when I came out of school, I used to go around some carpenters that I know have a trade and I can learn something.
So you learned a trade and you learned carpentry.
I can do a little of that.
Okay.
Which I had an uncle could do the same work. But I did like to go around and because he was kind of a little too rash for me. You're learning, but you have to sympathy, you have to use your common sense and so forth around young children.
So he was strict, you're saying? He was a strict teacher? He was very hard the way he taught?
Yeah.
Your uncle?
Yeah.
So you didn't like that?
I didn't like that.
So what did you do?
So when I find that, I started to go around down by where Cardi Pickering was living, right by the Shirleys.
Right.
And I used to stay around there with him. So when I stay around there with him, I started, when you put a sideboard with nails, he gave me a hammer and tell me knock them down and take them out.
Okay. Hold a second. We have a caller coming in. Good morning, Paul. This is Paul in the Ball in the Morning Show. I'm getting a little feedback on your radio. If you turn it down a little. Okay. That's much better. Please go right ahead. Sure. Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, that was off street. Yes. So let me get this straight. From George's, so up street from George's, that goes up to where? Where does the up street end? Okay, so by the graveyard is where up street ends. And so from the Georges, go all the way down to how far? Down to the government house? Is down street? Okay. So all right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. So for N- n- not at all. Appreciate that. I actually like that you called in. That's perfect. Yes, and of course, caller, we know we have to get you back on again at some point in time. Go ahead. Hmm. No. Yes, and you're doing a good job. Appreciate that. And before you go, as I have you here, tell me from your recollection, um, what 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 store do you recall was the most popular store on up street and on down street? Yes. Yes. Ah, right. Yes. Hmm. Oh, that's before Dr. Osborne? That is before Dr. Osborne?
Well,
Yes.
I think yeah,
The Blakes. Yes, I remember Basil Blake very much. Excellent. Go ahead. Oh, you can't remember now. Thank you. And if you remember, no, and if you remember, call back. That's fine. Okay, good, good. Appreciate you very much, caller. All right, so there you have it. You got some help there, Boogie.
yes, so there's a lot of that was a lot of help.
It was yeah, I thought the caller was extremely good indeed, and so again, just to reiterate those of you who are listening, he said the Penns who were fishermen, the O'Neills of course sold everything, clothes, construction, what have you.
Yeah,
I remember Basil Blake as he mentioned there. One of the places that I know you've spoken about before as we're on this, which is on Main Street now, is Little Denmark.
in Denmark.
And you have a little history about Little Denmark. Tell us your history of Little Denmark. Where did those people come from, and where were they originally? Where did you originally live?
They was living right next to that building right there.
Where they are? So Little Denmark is where the big red doors are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But tell us originally. You were telling me off air that originally they were from Peter Island. Okay, hold that thought. We're gonna come back there. We'll take the call. Go ahead, call up. Good morning. Go ahead, please. Thanks for calling. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? I guess so. Okay, thank you.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
What do you remember most from your youth? And where was your most favorite? Okay, well, tell us. And what was your recollection of the market? When you say everybody, was that just a handful of people? So it was a full crowd. Yes. And were the prices? You had to row a boat into town. Tell us a bit about, you mentioned Edry Hodge. Tell us a bit about that, about him. Right. So you paid 50 cents to, you see how important that is? Yes. So quick question now, was it I guess there weren't really any supermarkets at that time. So and were the prices to buy stuff and so from the market, were they good? Were the prices good in those days? What I'm finding right now is that it's actually cheaper to go to a supermarket to buy vegetables than it is to go to the market. And I think that's something that we need to look at and change, because it should be cheaper to go to the marketplace to buy vegetables and stuff. Right. Well, listen, thank you very much for calling in. I appreciate that. And you've been extremely helpful. Please call in again. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Well, listen, Boogie, we're going to take a pause for a cause, and then we'll be right back. So stick and stay. I'm pawing the ball with the man himself, Boogie, Clarence Freeman. Stick and stay. All right, doing really well, Boogie. You're excellent, and you see people calling in. They're loving to hear you. Remember, when you're speaking, to stay close to the ear, otherwise they can't hear you, and it sounds as if you're far away. But you notice that people are loving to hear your story, and your story is inciting them to hear other things. See, my mom's in there again. Morning, Mom. So my mother's on Facebook, so I was telling her good morning. You wouldn't be able to see her, but she can see you.
When that lady came in, she really pick up on me, because she sees that I was an intelligent person.
Right.
Yeah. And I know her because no way she met me on the road, she passed me.
You mean the lady who called us now?
That lady, yeah, one of Molly's sister, Molly's Stout.
Okay.
Because when I was living, working at Long Bay during hurricane, she used to look out for me to see that I get my breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wow.
Because I used to clean up, go down there, clean the place and so.
Right.
I know her quite a long time. And I
Wonderful.
didn't know she was Molly's sister.
There you go.
So when she tell me who she was and so, I knew you for quite a long time coming to town.
Yes.
Sometime when they come to town, George's had a wharf where they could have come and tie the boat up, and they go by George's and shop, and they just take the stuff and carry and put them back on the boat. Because when the boat bring the floor for George's, had to stay down in the deep part below Wickham Ski,
Right.
and they lower the rope.
You have to remember that every time we come off of air, you tell all the best stories. I have to start to beat you. You have to, as soon as you go back on, you're going to give that story.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
No.
It's keep it in your mind. And that's what we talk about. And then when we finish with that story, we're going to go back to the Peter Allen story with the cigars.
Yeah.
But tell that one first. All right? So we're coming on now. So keep it in your mind. Boogie's going to be back on. And remember, speak loudly and in the mic so that they can hear you. All right? So I'm gonna just quickly say something, and then I'm gonna bring you back. I'm going to say we are talking about some interesting things while we're off the air. So Boogie was just giving. I hope you guys are hearing him clearly over there. Let me bring you a little closer. I've just moved you a little closer because Boogie has a soft voice, so you just brought a little closer to you. I even have him a little closer to you now, and yes. So good to have you, and I'm really hoping that you're enjoying the show. Again, the show is all about history and the wonderful things about our Virgin Islands and where we came from, and you know, and where we want to get to, because you can't get to where you want to get to unless you know where you came from. So we're going back on live now. And welcome back. I am Paul on the ball. I think we have a caller. Go right ahead, please. Paul on the ball, along with Clarence Boogie. Yes, sir. Not at all. Not at all.
No.
You can't. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, he said yes.
I'm there from right there. That's born and bred there. You see, really what happened, we have to tell the young people them in those days what kind of days we had comparing with now. Because how much was for the show cake?
How much was it?
Pay for the show cake? And now today, if you don't have $2 or $3, you don't get one. and those sugar cake will stop at the line.
Listen, I have $1. Could I get 100? Thank you very much, Carla.
Thank you.
Totally. I agree 100%.
Oh, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yes, sir. Thank you a lot again. All right. Now, Boogie, before you get to your next point, I just want to thank our sponsors, because without them we couldn't go any further. Heavenly Soulful Roots, as she wants to remind you that there are lots of outlets, through the BVI that you can now pick up all of our oils. And also we've been sponsored by Fatima's, and they're right there on Main Street, right in town, right actually next to my offices in town, the Hewlett offices. And so Fatima's where you can buy all the clothes that you need and what have you. So we want to really thank Fatima's and Bilal and Heavenly Soul for Root Glory. So those are our two main sponsors. And please, when you're in town, do support them if you need clothes or if you for your oils. And those oils are spectacular. Now, Boogie, I don't want you to forget because when we are off the air, you are just making such an amazing point, and I'm going to go straight ahead.
Oh yes, there was when the boat come from west, the boat them come from Western and Justman and Virgin Garden. They used to come to George's Wharf, which is when the boat with the what the messenger. No, the boat was name of the boat was the Wonder Why. When she came with come with the flower, she couldn't come to the dock because it was a deep boat. So what happened? They used to land the flower in a rowboat, and they used to row the boat up to George's Wharf and offload the flower. Make several trips there between Wickhamsky and the mainland, coming up that area. Had to pass Paul, just above Paul Place there. There was a concrete wharf right there. So they had some fellows there used to take the flour on the shoulder and carry it to the storeroom and they pile it up. But what they used to do is to make step. They put one down first, a second, when they get to a certain level, and they continue packing going up. So you're going up like a step now. So that day now, when they reach to the top of the building, they just start another leg in. So one day, the boat did delay due to bad weather. And Mr. Georges went down on the dock and he was there standing and he started a song. He started a song to sing. He wonder why ain't bring no more flour. So when I meet Dr. Georges, I used to sing a song for him. He said, you know about that too? I said, yes. Because he used to be around down there. But the thing that we learned about this country was respect the elders, and then you'll be a good citizen of the country.
Amen. Let's take a quick call there on that point. Interested in the flower. But you're Paul in the Ball, the morning show here with the man in Boogie himself. Go ahead, please. Good morning.
Good morning. That Miss Watley.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
you know them.
Okay, well, I wanted her to expound a bit on those licks. That was quite interesting,
Yeah.
and maybe it's something you can call back and let us know a bit more about the fact that if they met you on the road and you misbehave, they could beat you, and then your parents could beat you. Very interesting point, because in modern day society now, if you hit somebody's child, or even if you tell them off, the parents come to beat you.
Yeah.
You know, I think we have another caller coming in, Boogie. You started something here. Go ahead, please, Paul on the Ball Morning Show. Okay.
Hello.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So why do you think why you say the prison? Okay. I see.
I know the reason for that. I know the reason for that.
Hmm.
Yes.
Aha.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But that,
Okay, go ahead, make your other
yeah,
point.
yes, yeah. I don't know because
You've been wanting to ask that question for years, right? Yes. Yes, so help
yeah.
us.
But
Yes,
the
I've been to
introduction,
him. I've
yeah.
been to Dr. Hurt. I never went back. I never wanted to go back again. And- yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
Sometimes you used to get the cocaine, and when you hear the noise inside, you leave with the cocaine in the teeth. Peddling.
Yes. I
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Go ahead. Oh, uh,
But uh, well,
all right. Thanks a lot.
really,
He'll give you a response in a while.
really,
Okay, good, good. So, just again to quickly remind folks that our sponsors, Heavenly Soulful Roots, and of course, Fatima's Heavenly Soulful Roots. She does all those oils for for your skin, and Fatima's for all your clothes right there in town. And that's actually Fatima's. Fatima's is rightly not just at the tail of I have to get it right, of Upstreet, right? It's right at the tail of Upstreet, just before you
yeah.
after. So it's in definitely in
Yeah,
Upstreet though,
the opposite. Yeah.
definitely the Upstreet area. Now, just really quickly, Dr. Hurt. I have actually been to Dr. Hurt. I remember, and I never ever wanted to go back again. That man was terrible.
He did an extraction for me one time, and I didn't want to go back.
No, and as the caller said, you remember people when somebody went in there, they used to be screaming because
He used to be screaming.
Dr. Hurt made sure that you heard.
Yeah.
Now listen, I want to get back to our old story if we can, if we have time. You were about Peter Allen and the cigarette. There was
The tobacco.
a tobacco factory in Peter Allen. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, Mr. Bruce Richard was Diana's father. Used to have those tobacco field up there, and he used to make his own cigar. And he came over, I brought him over, and he get them sell here to the same little shop they had. And then the boat same didn't have no engine. It was you had to use oil. And those two daughters of his own had to row that boat from Peter Island over to the mainland with a little sail.
So do you remember Mr. Bruce's two daughters' names?
Yeah,
Diane, I know one is Diane because Diane is still there now.
Yeah.
She's still at Little Denmark.
yeah.
And who was the other sister?
Arabella.
Arabella. So Arabella and Diane used to row the boat
Yeah.
from Peter Island
Yeah,
across to their store, Little Denmark, in town.
yeah. Because there is a school just coming right just beyond Brother Josh Bakery.
Right.
It had a wharf there. It used to call Parker Wharf.
Parker Wharf.
Yeah,
Okay. So Parker Wharf was right by where Josh Bakery is now.
more or less. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're just kind of giving people, remember for the youngsters now, we have to kind of picture it for them. So they know where Josh Bakery is. So now they can imagine that a boat used to come in and dock right there. Somewhere thereabouts. We haven't given the, but they get a general idea.
Yeah.
That boats could actually come in from Peter Island and come all the way there.
Yeah.
So obviously all they had to be water. Correct?
That was water, yeah.
Wonderful.
Right in the entrance between Josh and Little Denmark, there was a house there. There was a house right in that area
Hmm.
where the doctors and so forth used to stay. And so forth. After the doctors stopped staying there, they used to rent it out to private people. And then come to one day, they decided to take it out and put a road coming through there.
Okay, so break it down again. I think I missed that. So where was that building again?
It was right in the area between Josh and Little Denmark.
So there was a building there
Yeah.
where the road is now.
Yeah,
Okay, so now where you drive in between Little Denmark and Josh Bakery,
yeah,
there was a house there where doctors live.
yeah.
Wow. Because okay, so all that so and that was backing up from Main Street because Main Street Road was still there, obviously.
Main Street Road was still there.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that was water.
On the other side was water. There was a doctor living there by the name of Dr. Rosenelli.
Is that the house that you said was owned by the Parkers?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, go ahead.
There where Sidney Farrar was living there at one time.
Whom?
Sidney Ferraro.
Oh, Sidney Ferrara was living there.
Yeah, he was living there at one time.
Oh, interesting.
That's Jerry father.
Yes, I realized that Gerald Ferrara, who is now QC.
Yeah.
So his father, Sidney Ferrara,
Yeah.
lived in the Parker house,
Yeah,
right in between there, which is now a road.
right is our road.
Right. Interesting. All right, go ahead.
There, after the meeting there, after he moved from there, they started to rent it out to private people.
Right.
Because I know of cousin of mine and her husband was living in that same area. Was by the name of Williams, Joseph Williams, and Patsy Williams. She was a relative of mine.
Right.
And when they left from there, they came back up to Hunterston. Because he was married to her, and they became one. So we take him in as a family.
Right. Now, I know you liked a lot of sports. Do you remember any recollections of horse racing in those days when the water was still there? Any kind of horse racing at all? Do you recall any?
I recall a lot of them.
Tell us from your recollection where the races were run from and what you remember.
And the rest is what I know was up behind the elementary school.
The same place where actually both you and I went to school, which is Long School.
Yeah.
Because I actually attended Long School as well.
Yeah.
And so right back behind there is where I don't remember the horse track, but I remember Long School, I guess.
Yeah. Because there's a race from by where Pussers is
From Pussers.
up to the corner to down up by Randolph Malone.
By where the bar is now.
Yeah.
Right, at the top of the road, and there's a bakery on the other side now.
Yeah. You wouldn't see when the horses start, but when they finish, you go up to the winning pole would see them who came first.
Right.
But who start wouldn't see. So you had to go up to the top of it, have to tell those who down to the bottom of the starting point
So
who was the winner.
So if you're betting on a horse, you don't know what happened to start. So you have to have somebody that you trust down at the starting line.
Down at the finishing line.
Or either or, yes.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of guys used to ride horse, I like Claudia Smith.
Mm.
There was the next man. Hey, he lived here for quite a while. Horton Smith, he was a jockey also. That was David Smith uncle.
Okay.
He was also a shoemaker also. He could have make you a pair of shoes.
Who is that?
Man by the name of Horton Smith.
Halton.
Yeah,
So Halton Smith was also a shoemaker.
a shoemaker.
All right. And where did he make shoes?
There was a house he was living in just right down in the place you call the Low Yard.
The Low Yard. So now explain to us where the Low Yard is situated.
Well, the Low Yard was right inside there where Patsy Lake was living. Where her mother was living inside
Okay.
there.
So where Patsy Lake's mother, and where did Patsy Lake's mother live?
She was living in the same place you call the Low Yard.
Right, but
It was two different things. It was the upper yard and the low yard.
right. So what I want you to help me with is the people who are listening. Now there are those who are listening who know exactly where the lower yard and the upper yard is. Just like there are people who know where down street and up street is.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of young people who have no idea what you're talking about. So I want you to give me a specific name and a building or something that's there now that people can relate to.
Well, the same building Patsy Lake mother was living in is still there.
Okay, so what?
And Miss
So Patsy Lake.
Korean mother also.
But be more specific, given an area, because a lot of people don't know where Patsy Lake's mother lived.
That was when you're going up, before you turn to go up by Dr. Adamson Road. There's a common tree on the left side.
Okay. Okay, so right up by Dr. Allen. Okay, so going towards Huntum's got
Going towards
just by the big tambourine tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying now. That is where Patsy now has a lot of the Filipinos and so living in the area.
Yes.
All right, gotcha. And that, though that property was originally Patsy Lake's mother's.
It was a
Yeah.
whole family.
It was a family
Family
building.
stuff,
Okay, right. And that is what we call the lower yard. So the lower yard and Huntum's got are one and the same.
No, they had different villages had different names up there.
So where's the lower yard and where's the upper yard? Because you mentioned the upper yard.
The upper yard was when you go on the upper side of the road, where David Smith's mother was living. When you go there to buy your tart and so forth, and a lady by the name of Emma Smith. And
Give me another landmark besides calling somebody's name, because only you're gonna get all the older folks. They're gonna know exactly what you're talking about. The younger people are gonna be lost.
Yeah, because there was another place there where you call across the gut by Liston area.
Right,
And come up a little further, it had a place you call it Brookaway.
right.
That coming up right around the corner.
So where did the upper yard end?
The upper yard had finished right by cross by where Wendell Parson was living.
This guy certainly has a great memory because he remembers everybody by name.
There was a lady up there by the name of Miss Eldra. Anybody came from the Caribbean island, they used to come with a little piece of paper with a note, they would ask people here if they know where Miss Eldra Benjamin lived.
Right.
So they would tell them. She housed a lot of Caribbean island people, and they was very faithful. Because her mother was a butcher, she was his mother. She used to butcher her animals and take to the market on the Saturday. But her favorite thing, what she used to kill was a pig.
She used to like killing pigs.
Killing pig.
So when she killed the pig, let's talk a bit about that. When she killed the pig, what happened once that pig was killed? How did she get the pig sold? How did she move it? How did everybody know she was killing a pig?
Well, she had her customers. But what happened when they killed the pig and they finished scraping it and so, they used to cut it up and weigh. They used to cut up and weigh. So when you go to the market now, this already wrapped already in those old time cement bag, what they used to use.
So they used to wrap the pig in the old cement bags?
No, the meat.
The meat, sorry, yeah, I know, the meat.
And she put in her tray and she go down to the old the market square, where we call a bungalow.
The bungalow. Go ahead.
And that was down by the old post office area.
Mm-hmm.
And where they have to pass the post now, there was a horse stable there. When they bring the animals with the things stuff to the market, they offload and they put the animals inside there between Mr. Penn and the post office.
Mm-hmm.
That horse stable was there for the animals and so. So when they finish now, they just take the animals and whatever leave back, they take them back up and they give them away to the people that want bought the stuff. Tell them you could have those. But that pig, that pork Miss Barton used to have, a lot of people used to come there and buy.
So, Miss Merton, you said, right?
Barton.
Miss Burton, did she obviously had to kill the pig the same day that she knew that it was going to be market? Was that on market day? Was that on a Saturday?
She used to butcher on the Friday night.
Okay. So she always butchered on a Friday night?
On the Friday night
Gotcha.
for the Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing Mr. Martin used to do.
I was just about to ask you the same question about Mr. Martin.
He butchered the same Friday. He butchered the Friday afternoon
Yes.
for the Saturday morning.
And did both Mr. Martin and Miss Burton, did they both carry their meat down
Down to the market.
down to
Down to the old market.
the old market,
Yeah.
right?
And also, there was this man Thomas Hodge. He was a butcher also.
There was also Thomas Hodge. Okay. So there were three butchers.
Three butchers.
There was Thomas Hodge.
Yeah.
There was Miss Burton, and there was Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Gotcha. So for those of you who are listening, I hope you remember all three of these butchers. Okay, and those meats were taken in, and then they were. You said they were cut up and wrapped. Did Mr. Martin do his the same way as well?
Yeah, he used to do the same thing.
No, Mr. Martin had, of course, he had a store in town.
He had a grocery.
He had a grocery in town,
Yeah.
right? Mr. Martin had a grocery because I remember that on a Sunday, my dad would stop there to buy meat and buy stuff there.
He used to sell meat there also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we're nearly out of time. I'm going to let you give one last story that people don't know. Where I live now, you also had this guy has a story for everyone. Tell the listening audience a story about the house that I live in. You're laughing.
Well, actually, the house that he lives in now, I did the excavation on that foundation.
You did the excavation. Can you believe this guy? He did the excavation on the foundation that the house that I live on now.
Yeah. And I get to know his father, and me and his father get along pretty good. So during the father time and so forth, I know him going to school here also. So when I saw him, I said, well, he seemed like a good and nice person to be around. So we used to hail each other until we get to have a close relationship. And where the relationship really came in from was those same sugar cake. Those same sugar cake.
Say sugar cake. Now we're pretty much out of time, and I think we have one last caller. We'll take a last caller. Good morning, the morning show with Paul on the ball. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Okay.
Who was that butcher again? I didn't hear that.
Miss Jean.
Gina McKelly. Oh, okay. Gina. You don't want to forget that other butcher. There was Gina McKelly,
Yeah.
a butcher. Miss Burton's sister. Okay, so Gina, who was Miss Burton's sister? There was Thomas Hodge, was it?
Thomas Hodge was.
Thomas Hodge, and there was Mr. Martin. So there were four butchers.
Four butchers.
Correct? Excellent. Thank you very much. We're out of time, unfortunately. It's been a full hour and a lot of information in deal. Boogie, of course, for those of you who don't know, his real name is Clarence Freeman, and many of you don't. Your mother was Iva, get it right. Iva Freeman, okay. Another person that's coming that was taught by Altius Catliffe. How impressive was that? So you get to know these names and why they were so popular. But we want to thank you very much for coming in today, Boogie. You were exceptional. the listening audience really enjoyed you, and we just want to say, folks out there, stay positive, stay focused, stay BVI proud, and of course, as Boogie would always remind me, we are the Virgin Islands, and not the BVI, but we are the Virgin Islands. That,
But one thing I have with this problem I have with the show, the time. We don't get enough sponsors to run the show a little longer.
yes, we need to get some more sponsors, but I can't stop because I am actually out of time with the sponsors that I have. But
Okay.
thank you for that. We certainly do need some more sponsors on the show, so we're looking forward to getting some more support from you out there, whatever it is that you can. Until next time, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay positive. And for you all folks, again, thank you for listening. There was a lot of call-in, so when the call-ins come in, you don't pick those up. It's something that we have to work on, I think, with the technocrats, so we can get you listening to some very interesting calls of people that were telling us about different parts of Rotown and all the different butchers. You've heard us call, you'd have heard me repeating the butchers' names. 4 different butchers we had in town. Quite interested indeed. Of course, this young man himself was excavating our home, Mommy. I'm sure you remember. And, just so much a lot we learned about the market and the marketplace this morning. So until next time, God bless you all and stay positive and have a wonderful day. Bye for now. Ciao.